Believe it or not, this is the first movie I've reviewed directed by a Finnish person. He goes by the name of Dome Karukoski and he's been around for a while now. I've heard of him for well over a decade, but I'm pretty sure I've never actually seen any of his movies. And how he landed this gig, I'm not so sure, but I gotta admit I was a bit skeptical. Mainly because this is a movie that carries the famous Tolkien name, the author of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, which I'm sure you know. And it stars maybe not A-listers but recognizable and talented actors. And yet for some reason no one's talking about it. It's gotten virtually no attention at all, which led me to believe that it's gotta be a bad movie, right? I mean, there's no way you can make a good movie with recognizable actors, then put the name Tolkien on it, and it's not gonna get a decent amount of attention. Well, having seen the movie now, you can color me surprised. Because I thought this was really quite good actually, not bad at all. I mean, I'm not sure I really even have any genuine complaints about it. And first of all, Dome Karukoski knows what he's doing apparently. This thing is well directed. He has a very fluid and effective style that just works, but doesn't draw attention to itself. And it's a fairly good looking movie too, visually very pleasing. And the score, well, it's a little bit on the generic side of things, but not bad by any means. But the writing and the script is pretty strong. It basically deals with Tolkien growing up, with the main focus on him as a young adult, but it jumps around a little bit, showing him in different stages of his life as a boy and a young man. But that too was handled well and it never got confusing or convoluted. And I'd say what really makes this movie stand out to me are the central performances, because Nicholas Hoult is fantastic in this. Really, really good, and Lily Collins is a very close second. She plays his love interest and the scenes they share are just effortless. Their chemistry is just brilliant, and there is especially one scene in a restaurant. That is probably my favorite scene in the entire movie, with just the two of them. And it's brilliant, I absolutely loved that scene, and there are actually a few scenes that really stood out to me. And I usually don't pay that much attention to individual scenes. Rarely do I come across a movie where there's just certain scenes that stick with me. But this one had a few of those, another one being where Tolkien takes a walk with his professor. Brilliant stuff all around, I loved that one too. Such good writing and such great performances. But another thing that was sort of a very strong element throughout the whole movie was this focus on friendship between Tolkien and his group of friends. And the way that whole aspect was handled was really good too. It brought in an emotional component that I really wasn't expecting. And you know what? This thing got to me more than once. I was tearing up at multiple occasions. It just really resonated with me for some reason. And at times this movie could be truly beautiful. And a lot of that had to do with the execution itself. This thing handled all the emotional stuff very well, so elegantly, that I found myself tearing up at moments where most movies just wouldn't get to me. And yeah, as far as the story goes, I think they picked the right era of his life to focus on. It's the time of his life that sort of shaped him as a human being, and probably as a writer too. And well, I ended up liking this way more than I'd anticipated. And I honestly think it's a shame it hasn't gotten more attention, because it's a very well made movie that didn't feel like a shameless cash grab, made just to profit off the Tolkien name, but it actually felt genuine. It's obvious that a lot of love and care went into making this movie, and I do hope it finds an audience. But how about it? Would I recommend it? Yeah, especially if you're a fan of Tolkien. But even if you're not, I think it's still a very solid drama, with a bit of romance thrown in for good measure. So you should probably give this a look. Or don't. After all, I'm not your dad. But I am trying to sell out, so consider liking, subbing, hitting that bell and supporting me on Patreon. Because I really need to get myself a leather-bound edition of The Lord of the Rings. And hey, why not drop a comment below or check out another review? I'd appreciate it. Thanks.